Hello everybody and welcome to Cause and Effect, a show about Vetes. This is the first episode of the third season, so we're really excited and glad to be back. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Swedish ECQ that was last week, and then later on we're going more in depth in one of the decks that were in the finals. But before we go into such amazing topics, I would like to, as always, introduce my two beautiful co-hosts. Adam Esbjörnsson, say hello.
Hello.
And Isak Esbjörnsson Bjärmark, say hello.
Hello.
Okay. Awesome. So, we were all three at the ECQ. How did you find it, Isak?
I find it really awesome. It's hard to concentrate on a game if you're organizing the stuff as I did. So, that was great. I performed really badly. It was very close and I ended up being Apache Jones for a second time. Fortunately, that didn't happen.
Apache Jones is the prize you win if you finish last in a tournament. You get to be Apache Jones on Facebook, for you guys who don't know.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
What did you play?
I played the girls with Find, the blind spot or inner peace, whichever we girls, the short of it. But I ended up being a bit unconcentrated, and that's never good. But mostly I ended up never drawing Cybele in any of my 3 games, and only Crypt Acceleration once.
Okay.
Ended up being kind of bad for me.
So you blame it on bad luck?
Part of it bad luck, part of me being unconcentrated, unfocused.
How did you? What did you do? Did you get 1 VP or?
1.5.
Oh, that's okay then.
Yeah.
But you had a lot on your mind. You're a national coordinator, so you had a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah. Let's stick with that story.
Adam, you did a whole lot better, actually. You went ahead and just won the thing.
Yeah, ain't nothing to balls. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just pretend to be humble at least.
Yeah, I'll pretend to be humble. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, but you were kind of bragging about it. You went out beforehand and said that you were going to win, and then you actually pulled off and won.
Yeah, well, you know the winning bragging stuff? You do that before every single tournament, and you seem like a genius the moment you actually win something. That's like that's how I roll.
Awesome. What did you play?
I played a Anson Volker or Anson Celerity Guns Master Module Gunsling deck. It's quite popular, so I think most people have seen it. Okay. But it's just with a lot of Infernal Pursuits. It's really similar to what we've talked about in an earlier show.
Yeah, so how did it work out for you more than winning? Was it hard or was it easy? Was it a good meta choice?
Well, I think it was good enough. I might have been actually more favored if I chose something else. I don't know. And if I win a tournament, I normally don't try to second guess my choice of deck, but actually, I got into the finals with really low victory points. I wasn't sure by the end of the 3rd round that I would even be in the finals. I had 1 game win 6 before the finals, and I got 2nd seed, which is really surprising, actually.
Yeah, it was. How many people were in the tournament, Isak?
38 people.
38 people, and
so there was 10 people less than the Swedish National Championship, and in the Swedish National Championship there were only 1 player with 1 game win, and that player had 1 game win 7.5, I think. So in the ECQ was a lot tighter because we had 3 people with just 1 game win, and they was 1-5 and 3 of them are 1-6. So it was incredibly low requirements to actually enter the finals in this ECQ. Kind of surprising, but that favors combat decks and wallish, blockish decks. I think they usually have a trouble getting high game wins and high VPs. So.
Yeah, as I said, I was really surprised. I think last year the GothCon 1-6 didn't get into the finals at all. So then you had to be content with qualifying with 1-6. So by the third, I actually didn't have a game win until the third round. So by the second round, I thought I was out of the tournament. I didn't think I would be able to get into the finals. But that just goes to show that it's really important to try to stick in there, because some tournaments are actually a bit weird how many points people get.
Yeah, and it's really weird because it was a big tournament as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Traditionally, the ECQ in Sweden at least have required 2 game wins to get to the finals. Maybe one person with 1 game win, but basically 2 game wins to get to finals. That's how it historically has been.
Yeah, and if you don't need 2 game wins, you need 1 game win 8 or 1 game win 9 or something high like that.
Yeah.
And how did you do, Anders?
I came Apache Jones Jr. It's called. I finished 6th in the tournament with 1.5. So it was. I played all right. It was okay. I think I could have been a little bit more greedy. Then I would probably have been in the finals. But I played a good tournament, and I played Shambling Horde, speedy Shambling Horde deck with a lot of bleed and shamblers, just going for the win.
Yeah. So you're getting there towards your New Year's resolution.
Yes, I'm trying at least. I have a New Year's resolution that I should win 1 tournament this year.
That's a worthy New Year's resolution, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. But you have some requirements, yeah? You have to have 10 people in the tournament.
At least 10 people, so I can get a deck in the TWDA.
Yes, you nailed it.
Thanks a lot.
No problem. Sorry for being a douche.
No, yeah, and for the record, we can say we played a tournament yesterday as well. It was just 7 people, and Isak won it, so he's a winner as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I almost forgot. Yeah, I got some. I don't know what it's called. I got my honor back in a bit, at least.
A bit. After some king making and such. I'm not naming any names.
It was okay. Then I played that tournament. I played a Torador AAA mind rape deck. It's pretty strong with unblockable mind rapes.
Yeah, pretty strong.
Cap 12 unblockable mind rapes.
Yes, on Solid even I managed to do.
Nice.
Yeah. But then when I was about to go a backdoor hunt with Solid, I got blocked. Too bad.
Too bad.
Too bad. Okay. So I don't know, do you have anything more to say about the GothCon before we continue onwards? I had a lot of fun. There was a lot of people from a lot of different countries. It was really international. It was awesome.
Yeah, I didn't get the chance to say that. I think that as well. It's really, really great to see all the people. I think one of the more fun events I've had in Sweden, this GothCon, because of how many people got here.
It was great. Well, people from all over Europe, but Hungarians, German, France, Portugal, UK, and New Zealand. And Finland, so there are a lot of different. We could mention that we also had a draft, 34-player draft event, which Hugh Angsty won.
Yeah, of course. The weird Spell of Life draft.
Yeah, but the grid thing was that Hugh didn't play Spell of Life and won, so
okay,
the good guys won.
That's good for you. Okay, well, I think we're leaving it behind. It was awesome. I hope everybody comes next year and we'll make it even a bigger and better event. So, one of the decks that were in the finals was Michael Lindros, who played a Death Star kind of deck, which we will go in and see his deck list a little bit sooner on, but first we're going to check out the original Death Star deck. Isak, would you take us in on what Death Star means?
Yes. So the Death Star is named after, I don't know who really was the original creator, so I shouldn't name that, but this particular version was basically Matt Morgan's build, and then Ben Peel added some cards, and won the NAC 2008 with this deck. So that's the history, so to speak. It's called the Death Star because you use one giant ass laser to deliver praise, so to speak. The basic idea is to get a lot of breeding going on and get all your vampires to go Anarch in one way or another, and then play Revolutionary Council for maximum damage.
Okay, and Adam, what's the Revolutionary Council?
Yeah, it's you get points 2 times the amount of Anarchs you choose, and you tap those Anarchs and you do damage to, most, like, importantly, it's the Methuselahs, and they take that much pool damage. But you can also destroy, like, Methuselahs and destroy Methuselahs, sorry, locations and systems.
Yeah.
So it's a neat card.
It's a neat card. You can dash out a lot of damage with this, but it requires quite a setup, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is probably the most efficient damaging boat in the game. Probably. One could argue that Unseen Empowerment on Lanky Uprising is more efficient, but this is very, very efficient. But as you said, since you're breeding and you need all your different vampires to go Anarch, the Anarch trait doesn't apply to the newly embraced vampire, so you need to actually have some tech to go Anarch with them. And then after that you have to become Baron, and you need to get Vote Lock. So it's a lot of hassle involved.
Okay. So what's the trick in this deck? This is a Azomite deck, right?
Yeah.
How do you go about getting this laser of doom to trigger, Adam?
This deck includes both Embraces and Web Knives. Web of Knives Recruit, sorry. Which is a kind of Embrace for Azomite. But they get some disciplines. Anyway, so you breed a bit with those cards, and you try to get Vote Lock with Alamut and Black Throne and Amaravati.
Amaravati, what does it do?
It's a vampire who can burn blood to give all Asomites 2 blood to give all Asomites 1 vote.
Okay.
And you try to get Vote Lock with that, and you stay alive until your setup is done with Consage's Boon.
Okay.
And like the big setup part, well, the first one is obviously to get all the Embraces, but the Embraces need to become Anarch, which can be actually quite a problem. There's one Seattle committee here, and you can use Crime Think to untap some when you go Anarch with like the regular action.
Yeah.
So you earn some actions as you use actions to go Anarch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have the Twilight Camp as well. Can actually
yeah, of course. You can use that.
No, yeah, that's only for ordinary vampires when they're brought up from the uncontrolled region.
Yeah, but then you can use Seattle Committee on the Embraces if you use Twilight Camp for the other vampires.
Yeah,
that's true.
So basically, you get out your big Azomite, yes, and just start breeding and making the children Anarch.
Alright, yeah, of course. Sorry, I forgot the fee stakes. They give you votes as well.
Yeah.
There's only one copy of Amaravati, so you don't always get him. So then you go Baron with the vampires who can go Baron.
Yeah, and the most obvious thing with the fee stakes is that Revolutionary Council requires a Baron, so you really need those.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you kind of need them. So the Alamut, you get votes for each time you bleed, right?
Yeah. So that's the source of Vote Lock. So you really need to bleed, and that's not a problem in itself. But you can only use it once to burn X, where X is the amount of votes. So one vampire gains the transient votes and then loses the transient votes. So this is a point of sensitivity for the deck. It can be very sensitive to Scapel's Tongue if you're acting, or if you're using Alamut defensively. Can be very because you're very sensitive to ancil empowerment, anarchy spot pricing, things like that. Obviously, because you have a lot of minions, and then you can be very sensitive to telepathic vote counting or similar cards.
Okay. So, but why do you choose Asimite? They're not like that good vote clan. Why Asimite? Is it because of the element, or are there any other reasons, Isaac?
It's basically element.
I think Amaravati is quite good.
Amarati is also really strong, but those two together makes you. It fits logically. It fits. You get a lot of minions to do breed boons, and both Alamut and Amaravati gives you votes on the number of minions you have. Yeah, you follow?
Yeah, I follow.
So it works neatly together. And you have the Black Throne, you have the Aruba Shrine, and you have Obfuscate, which is nice.
Okay. But I just, from the top of my head, it would seem like it's a lot of messy ways to get votes. Why not use like presence? Just go with that.
Well, you need to be Baron anyway, and it's just how you normally do it with the breed boon decks, is that you use the cards that give you 1 vote per minion.
Yeah.
So this is just like the base of the deck is a breed boon deck, and then you add Anarchs and Feast Stakes and the Revolutionary Councils on top of a regular breed boon deck.
Yeah. Well, okay. And you get the stealth as well. That's nice.
Yeah.
It's because everything else is master Anarch based or master clan based.
Yeah.
And that is also one of the neat things, that you don't have to rely on a discipline that much. You rather rely on you being Asimite and Anarch.
Yeah.
Because that is kind of easy to get. It's a lot more hassle to give them presence, for instance. But it could be an option to build a presence script. On the other hand, you don't have the added benefit with Con Boon.
No.
Getting a crypt with one clan and presence is probably a big hassle.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into it, but
Okay. So, are there any more like how do you exploit the fact that you're Anarch? Are there any more Anarch tech in the deck, Adam?
Should we talk about the Asmite tech or the Anarch tech?
The Asimite deck. Just sorry.
Isaac talked about Yoruba Shrine, which is a really nice card to avoid rushes. This is like a benefit of playing Asimite. It's not actually voting, but the card in itself is really, really strong. You get to avoid rushes and banishments. It's nice.
Yeah.
and banishment feeling like key if you play more heavily on Amarati.
Yeah.
Because he loses blood, and then you get banished, da da da. So
Yeah.
it's a nice way to save counters on Element.
Yeah.
The other interesting card is Crime Think. On Quietus, it's when you play an action that requires Anarchs or that makes you Anarch, you get to untap another Anarch. The card is really, really, like, technically or cognitively difficult to play because it's really weird to free drive some other minion than the one you're acting with, and you can only do it for someone who is Anarch when you take an action which makes you become Anarch or requires Anarch. So you can use it for the feast stakes, because if it requires a Baron, it requires an Anarch, and you can use it for the Revolutionary Council. But when I played this deck, I found that the most common use was the Go Anarch action.
Okay.
Yeah, the regular action to just become Anarch. It's easier to control, or what you want to call it. It's easier to prepare for that action, since you will know you always have that available.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and so basically you use this more or less to go Anarch, untap, and then have the ability to either go feast staking or just bleed to get more counters on Element.
Okay.
And damage your prey, obviously.
So when all of this is done, said and done, what's the greatest strength of the deck, Isaac?
It's a breed boon. I think that's the biggest strength. There is actually a breed boon. And the tech is neat and can be very powerful, though you're very sensitive to delaying tactics. On the other hand, when they see you start going Anarch, they will desperately save their delaying tactics for Revolutionary Council and probably not care as much about Kine and Con Boons, so you can trick them. As you see, he plays very few Revolutionary Councils, only 3 of them. So by having the threat of Revolutionary Council, and the table want to save their delaying tactics for that, you can actually gain more pool through Con Boon or pool damage through kind resources contest.
Then you have the Cryptic Rider as well, which is awesome card.
Yeah.
But can you play delaying tactics when somebody votes with Cryptic Rider?
I think it says on delaying tactics cannot be played. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. So, yeah. Yes, no?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. But there's actually one copy of Exclusion Principle in this deck, and that's to become less sensitive to delaying tactics on the Consage's Boon.
Yeah.
You get 1 pool for each independent, if I recall.
Yeah.
Well, everyone gets 1 pool for each independent vampire.
Yeah.
So that's like a backup plan. And I'm imagining that a lot of the time you won't even need Revolutionary Council to close out the game. It might make you more likely to win a game, or in some games it's actually required, but a lot of games I imagine you can play and win even without Revolutionary Council, because you get so much pool and so many minions. Sometimes you just overrun people.
Just bleed for 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And you have the Club Illusion here, which is a great card.
Right, yeah. The
so you can use the club. Yeah, if they burn a blood when they announce the bleed. So then you get Revolutionary Council, you get 2 pool damage free tapped Anarch. And Club Illusion, if you burn a blood, you get the same damage output. So that is another way of going around delaying tactics. Because I think delaying tactics is the single most problematic, the biggest problem. Sorry.
Yeah.
My language. So I think that's the biggest problem for this deck. It's delaying tactics, and well-played delaying tactics can make you go bye-bye.
Yeah, so I was just coming to that. What's the biggest weaknesses of the deck, Adam?
Yeah.
Is there more than delaying tactics?
There has to be, because there's an uncoiling in the deck. I'll bring up the deck list. So, I'm not sure exactly what the problem is, but maybe Dragonbound. Since you're playing Breed deck, if you get lots of minions in Torpor, it might not be worthwhile to get them from Torpor, but if the Dragonbound is in play, you kind of have to, and then you're wasting action. Yeah. So, a dedicated Rush deck which plays Dragonbound can probably kill you quite quickly.
I imagine that unmasking is a huge problem as well.
You do have Obfuscate.
Yeah, you do have Obfuscate, and you can vote for a lot of damage. I don't think that would be so problematic.
Yeah, exactly. And the Revolutionary Council, which I haven't talked enough about, is that Revolutionary Council actually makes you able to... No, it's location equipment. I'm being stupid.
Yeah.
Ignore me.
Yes.
Always.
I think another issue can be facing... if you're in a very vote-heavy meta. So, if you imagine that each table you face at least 1 in a circle and 1 just a card title, they will never let you build up counters and elements if they're playing correctly.
Yeah.
So they will agree with everything that you want to play, they will agree with it, but they will force you to burn counters.
Yeah, every turn.
Well, even a deck like this, who has votes that can do so much, like has such a huge impact on the game, no one can ever vote in favor of a referendum because of the fear of Cryptic Rider.
Yeah.
So when you have your 10 Anarchs out, you will not be able to pass anything because no one can take that risk. No one can risk you getting off a Revolutionary Council. So it's a bit of a drawback that it's totally impossible to make deals. At least like that. Vote block deals. Or what you gonna call it, vote changing, vote trading deals.
Yeah.
And Cryptic Rider is actually a disadvantage to this deck, I think.
Maybe you could make a deal, like, if I get this through, blah blah blah, I don't do Cryptic Rider. I think there's a leverage possibility to make deals.
Still, you can deal, but you could push it through. I mean, I wouldn't play this deck without Cryptic Rider.
No, of course not. I mean, what I mean is Cryptic Rider being problematic is that it's actually in the game. Because
Yeah.
then people need to think about. Of course, you're gonna include it in the deck because it's so powerful. Because you have Revolutionary Council.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other people know that as well, and that makes it hard to make deals.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
I think those two are biggest sensitive points.
Yeah.
Uh,
And if people start blocking before you have a lot of minions.
Yeah.
The stealth might not be enough. There's quite a lot of stealth in this deck.
It's
actually.
quite a lot of stealth. Yeah.
But yeah, if you get blocked, you're kind of screwed as well. But I think that goes for a lot of decks, so it's a bit
Yeah.
of a no-brainer.
But as long as you don't have the Auspex Weenie or a similar deck as your Prayer Predator initially, I think you can overrun them with sheer numbers.
Yeah.
Or just cross-table oust them.
And enough
Yeah.
stealth. There's quite a. I think it's mostly the Oscar Sweeney who could compete, or the Drawbar Rivet Strike deck.
No, it's quite a lot of stealth.
Yeah.
And I think it would be really hard to catch them.
Yeah, probably.
That could be a problem as well. Just hand jamming on stealth and titles.
Titles, you can just go get them. So that's not a problem, I think. But the modifiers, the stealth modifiers, I think this is a metagame choice. That during this, in this tournament and this continent, it's required to have this much stealth because everybody else are playing so much intercept / slight intercept, and you need this.
Yeah.
So it depends on the meta really. If the meta is, if it's that common with intercept, this is probably easily cycled.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't build this deck with more than 10 stealth cards probably. But that's because of the meta. Where I'm playing have a lot fewer block attempts.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know. But why is this really better than an ordinary breed boon, Isak?
Possibly. I'm not sure. I think you possibly have a better time to oust, possibly. But the setup, it's long. It's a long setup, I think, to go Anarch with enough of them so that Revolutionary Council get effective enough.
Yeah.
So I think the setup is a real issue, but as long as you mix with enough kind resources and con boons, I think it's no problem. I think you can make it. I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of con boons all in all. Yeah. Over to you, Adam.
Well, you have to compare this to, say you change all the Anarch cards for more kind resources contested.
That's what I was going in my head.
Yeah. If you do that, the kind resources contested will do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Now the fact that you do it all in one punch could be an advantage in some situations, most specifically with the blocking kind of decks, because you have, in this deck you can easily get 5 stealth for a Revolutionary Council, and if people try to block you, you only need to stealth once.
Yeah.
Instead of the kinds, which you have to stealth every single time. So it could give you an advantage there, but it gives you a disadvantage in the delaying tactics. But I think Revolutionary Council is a really, really strong card. Any card that can do 20 pull damage.
It's a strong card.
Yeah.
It's an insane card.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know. Do we have anything more to say about this deck before we take a little break?
No, I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm fine as well.
Okay. Then we will be back after the break with Marco Lindros' very funny Death Star deck from the EC, and then another take on this deck as well, with featuring Daughters of Cacophony. So we'll see you after the break. Goodbye.
See y'all.
Bye.